Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're actually going to go over kind of a recap of our time this year in Bulgaria. So if you've been a subscriber of ours, whether to our YouTube channel or listening to our podcast, you probably know we've spent a lot of time in Bulgaria over the last 3 summers. In this summer specifically, we actually spent about 7 weeks there, both between Sofia and Bansko.
So today we're going to go over how we got to Bulgaria, some of the great experiences that we had, and some of our recommendations if you're planning on going to Bansko, our unexpected nomad camp that happened with traveling with all of our friends, then also trying to get from Sofia, Bulgaria to Bucharest, Romania. And then at the end, if you stick around, we'll tell you if we're actually going to go back to Bansko.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Nomadic Abundance podcast. This is slow travel tips and inspiration for living an abundant life abroad. We're Joel and Michelle, and we're part of the Wandering Hartz, and we've actually been traveling full-time since 2019. Essentially, we're on a mission to help you figure out how to incorporate slow or even full-time travel into your work or retirement life for a more abundant lifestyle. Now, if you're one of our newsletter subscribers, then you're probably familiar a little bit with some of the things that we're going to be talking about today, as we've already shared some of our experience and a handful of tips in our newsletter. If you haven't already signed up, be sure to do so. It comes out every Friday, and it's free. So our Bulgaria trip actually started in North Macedonia, and if you watched our Regrets in North Macedonia video, you'll know we ended that video in Skopje. And so from Skopje, it was actually really easy for us to get into Sofia, Bulgaria. And basically all we did was just booked our bus tickets online. And then we just kind of walked to the bus station because we were staying really short distance away. And from there, just as a quick tip, even if you buy your ticket online, you're going to need to make sure you go to the counter and still be sure to pay the station tax as well before you leave and get on your bus. It's super inexpensive. I think it was only the equivalent of maybe $1 or something.
Yeah, for both of us, I think.
For both. So anyways, you do that, and then you can head out to your bus. And from there, actually, it was a really easy bus ride. Actually pretty comfortable, too. We actually had AC, and it stopped. We have a couple of different stops along the way, so there's places where you could get snacks or use the restrooms or anything like that. Speaking of which, if you are going to use the restroom, always be sure to have a couple coins on you, like a couple, like 2 or 3 leva, because you might have to pay to use some of the restrooms, and especially outside of like the city and stuff like that.
Yeah, so then that took us to the border crossing to get into Bulgaria. It took about, I think, an hour. So we had to actually pull all of our luggage out. Everybody on the bus did. And then kind of hoist it up on this table that they had set up. And then the customs had to then go through your luggage. We had to open it up. And
yeah, every piece.
Yeah, kind of this whole thing. So it did take a little bit longer, but it wasn't too bad.
No, yeah, and passport control is really easy too.
Yeah.
So we went through passport control first, where they stamped us back in. And also, when I say back in, it's because if you don't recall, Bulgaria is now a part of the Schengen area, which is kind of that 90-day limitation for, it's like a visa-free travel that we have as like Americans, I think Canadians as well. But you only get 90 days out of 180. So anyways, so we were actually coming back into that. So our time started counting once we did that. We've actually done a video that kind of explains more about this that you can find on our channel.
Yeah, from there, we just had to get our eSIMs working. Mine actually worked, I think, almost immediately as soon as we crossed into the Bulgaria border.
Yeah, mine took a few minutes.
Took a few minutes, so that was pretty easy. Highly recommend using eSIMs if you're not using them.
They're really convenient, especially if you're crossing borders and you want access to stuff, to data while you're trying to get to your next destination.
Yeah. So then that took us to arriving into Sofia at the central bus station. So we are very familiar with that area already, so that made it super easy. We just used the Taxi Star app.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is just like Uber or Lyft, and that just took us right to our accommodations.
Yeah, it's super cheap there too. A couple bucks. I think it was like 7 or 8 leva total. So, maybe $3.50, $4.
Yeah. And we ended up staying in Sofia for 5 days, which is our longest time kind of stretch there that we've stayed. And we had a apartment that we booked through Flat.io. They're right on Vitosha, well, really close to Vitosha Boulevard, which is one of our favorite places to stay. So we did do an apartment tour video if you want to check that out to see kind of what our accommodations look like. Ended up changing our money to the leva. We've got kind of a favorite exchange place that we like to go to that's super easy. It was super hot. This was basically the beginning of the big summer heat wave in Europe that lasted pretty much all summer. So yeah, that was kind of interesting because we didn't have any AC, but that's the way it is.
We still managed okay.
Yeah, it was okay. And we did end up doing a free walking tour. So that was actually really fun for us because we learned some things that we hadn't known about Bulgaria, like some of the history and the politics there. So I highly recommend doing a free walking tour in a city. It just gives you a really good overview.
Yeah, it's a good introduction.
Yeah.
Good introduction to a place. And you get a little bit of it's always a local that presenting, so you get that local perspective as well and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, highly recommend that. Another cool thing was that one of our other Nomad friends and also fellow subscriber, Michael, he was there as well. And so we actually got to meet him in Sofia during our stay. And it was actually that was the third country that we had actually met Michael in on this trip as well, which is pretty cool. And of course, he also went down to Bansko with us, which was our next stop on the destination.
Yeah. So yeah, after that, then it was then on to Bansko. So we left Sofia, which was super easy. We always buy our bus tickets online. We can leave links in the description below for that if you're interested. We just took the taxi again to the Sofia Central bus station, and yeah, I think it's about a 2.5 hour to 3 hour ride to Bansko. It's super easy. It's usually really comfortable, and then got a taxi then to our accommodations in Bansko.
Yeah. So one other note too is obviously there's other ways to get to Bansko from Sofia other than bus.
Yeah.
You can do private transfers, like you can take a taxi, and you can also do it's like more like a shuttle, a private transfer shuttle too. So there's a couple of different options. The bus is the cheapest, and it's also super convenient. It's super easy. So that's what we found. So that's why I always take it. And we also travel pretty light. So
Yeah.
Another making it easier to travel by bus too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so arriving in Bansko was really good. And it was also really nice to get back in there because anytime you've been back to a place, I'm sure you can relate to if you have a vacation place you like to go to or whatever. There's just that nice familiarity. So it's just super easy to help get settled right back in. And since we've generally stayed there for longer periods, weeks and months, it makes it like super easy to get into that pace of life since you're just so familiar with everything. And especially so this was our third summer actually in Bansko. And so what's cool is that we had a whole bunch of friends that we've met over the years that are other Nomad friends that have come in there for the big Bansko Nomad Fest every year. And so we didn't attend this year, but we knew they were going to be there. So that was part of our reasoning to come when we did, because it gave us a chance to kind of catch up with everybody. Some people we only see really once a year, so that was really nice too.
Yeah, and then we ended up staying at Four Leaf Clover, which is where we've stayed the last 2 years. We do have apartment tour as well if you want to check that out and see what it's like. We had a really awesome view this summer of the Pirin Mountains and the Rila Mountains actually from our balcony. So yeah, we were out there a lot just looking at the mountains.
Yeah, it's one of the things we like about Bansko. It's just one of our nice little quieter summer hideaways, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, like settling in, like I said, was really easy for us. I won't bore you with all the details. But when you get back to a place, you can get our work-life balance kind of figured out. And it just helps going back to a place because like what the ATM situation is, like where the groceries are, like how to the best places to eat and all that kind of stuff. So that makes it easy. In fact, we've actually created a quick start guide to Bansko. If you're interested in going there and you want the same, you just want to be able to like know where to go and what to do and kind of settle in real quick. So if you're interested in that, we have links in the notes, or if you're watching this on video, you can actually just scan the QR code on the screen.
And then one more quick tip for Bansko, there are a lot of places that do accept credit card. So if you've watched some of our previous videos about Albania and Macedonia, they're not as widely accepted. Bansko is actually pretty good about that. It is a ski town in the winter, so they're used to having a lot of tourists there. So the only place really that you can't use your credit card would be at the farmer's market or at some of the street vendors or smaller markets.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty accepted widely.
Yeah, so that makes it a little bit easier. So next up is actually one of our favorite things. It ended up, Bansko kind of maybe kicked off a little bit of our nomad camp, we called it, for the summer, just because we had so many people that we were traveling with, and a lot of them ended up coming to Bansko. So that was really fun for us this year. We got to hang out with a lot of our friends who actually came all the way from Saranda, ended up coming to Bansko, and so it was kind of our little travel tribe.
Yeah, we called it like Nomad Summer Camp.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. But yeah, it was really cool to be able to share Bansko, which is of course one of our favorite little like nomad hideaways and digital nomad hubs, with all of them as well. And it seems like everybody enjoyed their time there too. So that's always a plus as well.
Yeah.
But also while we were there, we got to do a lot of really cool things. If you already know, Bansko is super walkable. We love walkable cities. It forces us to get some exercise, which is really nice. But also we've done a lot of different activities in that area over the years. In fact, this year we actually celebrated my birthday at a little thermal bath and spa, which is kind of cool. Something I wasn't expecting. I wasn't sure I would like that. I've never really done one of those. But it was actually pretty cool, and I really liked it. So
yeah, it's a gorgeous hotel and spa that they have there with huge like thermal pools, and so we had a really fun day with our friends celebrating your birthday.
Yeah.
We did some hiking in the Pirin Mountains. We took the gondola up into the mountains, which is always fun. One of our favorite things to do. You did an ATV tour with some
I
friends.
did another one. So you might see on the channel we had a video where I did one, where we did one actually. I think last year or year before. So this year we did another one. It was pretty cool. It was just me this time. I didn't really film it or anything like that, but it was a blast. So we got to go check out some cool like waterfalls and things like that too.
Yeah, and we also put together a private wine tour for some of our friends this year, which was really fun for us. We like to tour southern Bulgaria wine country. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
The wine's amazing. The wineries are beautiful. And it was it's just a fun thing to do.
Yeah, we're basically a bunch of winos, so we follow the wine. That's what we do.
Yeah. And then also to all of the fun festivals that you can attend in Bansko. Our favorites are the Pure and Rock Festival and then also the Jazz Festival. So
yeah, and so those are all like really cool activities that you can do there. There's tons of other stuff, of course. We've got some videos that talk about some of that, go into more of that as well. So be sure to check that out. So unfortunately, our time in Bulgaria was coming to an end and we would have to leave Bansko. Especially way earlier than we wanted to. Like we mentioned earlier, Bulgaria was now part of Schengen area, so that meant our time was very limited there. And since our next destination, it was going to be Romania, which also went into Schengen this year, that basically meant we had to split our time up. So what basically we did is we just got a ticket back to Sofia, and that was actually through the bus station in Bansko, because we found an earlier ticket that was only available at the bus station and not online. So we purchased that and everything went just fine. We got back to Sofia and then we had read online about a way that you can get from Sofia to Bucharest by train, because the other option is generally bus or flying. And the tickets were extremely expensive, and the bus, we just if there's a train's an option, we're going to try the train because we just like trains.
Yeah.
So basically, we found some information online, and we decided that we would just try to see if this was accurate, because it was really only 1 or 2 places that corroborated this info.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what it was. We did this kind of experiment, and actually, we did a whole video of it. We documented it, so you can check that out on the channel.
See what it was like to
what it's
ride
like.
the train and no AC and 90 degrees.
It was an adventure for sure. So definitely check that out.
Yeah.
But when we got back to Sofia, we were just there for one evening. So we didn't bother filming anything or whatever, because it was just so quick. Yeah. And again, so we ended up using that taxi app again to get around, which of course was super cheap. And of course, we really wish we could have spent more time in Sofia again. We do like it, even though the heat wave is going on. Mm-hmm. But overall, it was pretty good.
If you're like us and seeking a better quality of life, or you're looking for maybe some more adventure, check out nomadicabundance.com. We're putting out information about slow traveling, including extended podcasts and bonus episodes, and also member-only videos. So just scan the QR code and you can sign up.
So overall, and not to sound like a broken record, we absolutely wanted to stay longer. Again, there's a reason we keep going back to Bansko. Again, it's affordable. It's a very, very beautiful place. We like the work-life balance. You can kind of do as much as you want or as little as you want. There's lots of activities you can get involved with, lots of local groups, especially other nomad stuff too. So really there's it's really what you make of it.
Yeah.
But we really like it. And especially if you like outdoor activities, we highly recommend it.
Yeah. So I guess that leads us into, will we be back to Bansko? And we're not really sure yet. We do know that there's a lot of our friends that are going back next year, so that does kind of...
It weighs it weighs a lot on our decision.
Because we want to see our friends again, for sure. But there's just a lot of other places that we want to explore. We're looking at going to the Baltics next year. And then also the Schengen time, is a concern for us, just because Bulgaria and Romania are now in Schengen. We're not sure. Maybe we might check into some of the residency options in Europe.
Yeah, possibly.
So that would give us some longer time than to stay in it. It wouldn't be as a concern of Schengen. So if you are interested in kind of those residency options, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of research on it. We're not complete experts on it, but we have found a couple options that can make it easy to, or somewhat easy to do that.
Yeah.
So, it's something we're considering. But again, there's costs involved too, so you kind of have to weigh it all out. Otherwise, it's a matter of us just kind of doing the, shuffling around, from Schengen and non-Schengen countries as well. Or trying to take advantage of one of the bilateral agreements that we have with the States and certain European countries. But again, that can also get really complicated as well.
Yeah.
So anyways, if you are interested in watching some more of our Bansko and some of our Bulgaria stuff, we have tons of episodes, both on the podcast as well as more videos actually, on the YouTube channel that you can check out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we really appreciate you watching to this far, because you guys are our absolute true fans that make it this far, and you're the ones who we're really trying to make videos for that can help you out. So thank you guys so much. If you haven't liked already, please do so. It helps us a ton. Also subscribe if you haven't yet. Happy wandering.
Happy wandering.
And so that's where we start this episode, from Skopje, North Macedonia. And basically what we did is we started by just purchasing our butt tickets. Let me start that again.